Abraham's sacrifice of Isaac, a typological foreshadowing of Christ's crucifixion. The narrative of Abraham's sacrifice of Isaac in Genesis 22 stands as one of the most profound and theologically rich passages in the Hebrew Bible. This account, known in Jewish tradition as the Akedah, the binding, has captivated readers for millennia with its dramatic tension and profound theological implications. For Christian interpreters, this passage holds particular significance as a typological foreshadowing of Christ's crucifixion, with Isaac's willing participation in carrying the wood up Mount Moriah, serving as a striking parallel to Jesus carrying his cross to Calvary. Genesis 22 opens with God's startling command to Abraham, "Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you." This divine directive represents the culmination of Abraham's faith journey, testing the very foundation of God's covenant promises. Isaac, the miracle child born to Abraham and Sarah in their old age, embodies the fulfillment of divine promises and the hope of future generations. The journey to Mount Moriah unfolds over 3 days, during which Abraham grapples with the tension between divine command and paternal love. The text's sparse narrative style heightens the emotional intensity, leaving readers to imagine the internal struggle of a father preparing to sacrifice his beloved son. This journey represents more than physical travel. It symbolizes a spiritual pilgrimage toward complete surrender to divine will. The most striking aspect of the narrative from a typological perspective is Isaac's active participation in the sacrifice. When they reach the designated place, Abraham builds the altar and arranges the wood. But it is Isaac who carries the wood up the mountain. This detail, seemingly minor in the broader narrative, takes on profound significance when viewed through the lens of Christian typology. Isaac's willingness to participate, even when he questions the absence of a sacrificial lamb, demonstrates remarkable faith and obedience. His inquiry, "Father, where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" receives Abraham's prophetic response. "God will provide for himself the lamb for a burnt offering, my son." This exchange foreshadows the ultimate provision that God would make through his own son. Christian theologians have long recognized Isaac as a type of Christ, with numerous parallels drawing connections between the two figures. The most prominent parallel lies in Isaac carrying the wood for his own sacrifice, just as Jesus carried the cross upon which he would die. Both sons demonstrate willing submission to their father's will, even unto death. The theological implications extend beyond the surface parallels. Isaac, as the child of promise, represents humanity's hope for redemption, while his near sacrifice points to the ultimate sacrifice required for salvation. Abraham's willingness to offer his only son, whom he loved, mirrors the father's sacrifice of his only begotten son for the redemption of mankind. The location of the sacrifice, Mount Moriah, carries additional typological weight. Traditional Jewish and Christian sources identify this mountain with the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, where Solomon would later build the temple. This geographical connection links Abraham's sacrifice with the entire sacrificial system of Israel, and ultimately with the crucifixion of Jesus, which occurred in the same vicinity. The sacred geography reinforces the theological message that God's plan of redemption unfolds according to his perfect timing and purposes. The same location that witnessed Abraham's supreme act of faith would later become the site of ultimate sacrifice and redemption. The climax of the narrative occurs when God intervenes, staying Abraham's hand and providing a ram caught in the thicket as a substitute sacrifice. This divine provision establishes the principle of substitutionary atonement that would find its ultimate fulfillment in Christ's sacrifice. The ram, taking Isaac's place, prefigures Christ taking humanity's place on the cross. Abraham's naming of the place Jehovah-Jireh, the Lord will provide, establishes a prophetic declaration that God would indeed provide the ultimate sacrifice for sin. This provision would come not through preventing the sacrifice as with Isaac, but through allowing it to proceed as with Jesus. The narrative of Abraham's sacrifice explores the profound relationship between faith and obedience. Abraham's willingness to sacrifice Isaac demonstrates faith that trusts God's character even when his commands seem to contradict his promises. Similarly, Christ's obedience to the Father's will, even unto death, exemplifies perfect submission and trust. The passage challenges readers to consider the nature of ultimate loyalty and the cost of discipleship. Just as Abraham was willing to sacrifice his most precious possession in obedience to God, believers are called to surrender their lives in service to Christ. The account of Abraham's sacrifice of Isaac serves as a powerful foreshadowing of the ultimate sacrifice that God would make through his son. Isaac's willing participation in carrying the wood up the mountain parallels Christ's willing submission to carry the cross to Calvary. Both narratives reveal the heart of God's redemptive plan,